Yeah, why are host homes important in our weekend? I would say they're incredibly important. We choose parents to be host homes, parents that have students in the youth ministry, and it's just another way to get parents involved. And so it's really neat to see those parents who host a group have a ministry, to have ownership of our youth ministry, to be able to flesh out ministry in their own lives to their sons or daughters and their friends. And we've just seen a lot of fruit from that. We've seen them come home from the students come to the host home and sit around the table, and the parents just engage, over pizza or snacks, just say, hey, what'd y'all learn from the weekend? And what's the Lord doing? And sometimes our conversations have come from those. And so it not only encourages the students, but encourages the parents, gives them a chance to have ownership of the ministry, and I think enables them to really minister to their son or their daughter and their friends.
The host home is such an important part of the Dnow experience. To find people within your church who have that spiritual gift of hospitality is usually the first place to start. And to have a good understanding, if you're a new youth minister who's just starting out as a church, that'd be one of the first places I would start, is be aware of the adults in your church who have the spiritual gift of hospitality.
I look for host homes in the way that who are the people in my church who need to have a different perspective of the youth ministry? Who are some people that I'm wanting to show what we do? So that may be anybody from some deacons in our church to some other folks, and I approach them and ask them about whether or not they'll host a home. There are some logistical things. How far away are they from the church? There are things like if whether or not they have a good backyard, or maybe they have, things like that. You look for some amenities. Do they have a swimming pool? Do they have a, some sort of, do they have a trampoline? Do they have, some of those things? So you look for some of those things, and some of those, like your junior high boys might need a home like that. Your junior high girls may not, but they might need a more frou-frou kind of house. They may need something with, just some privacy, or a basement or something like that they want to just collect in. It's, works that way. So I think in choosing a host home, different dynamics, you want to choose them for your different age groups that you're going to have in it.
My take on host homes is a little different in that we don't use them. We actually provide an opportunity for the students to come up. We use the church facility. They'll bring sleeping bags and cots and whatever. And we have part of the church, for the girls, and part of the church for the guys, and everybody stays up on the same campus, so that nobody has an excuse for being late to worship. Nobody has an excuse for being late to the Bible studies or the small group sessions. But it creates a really cool environment. It gets the kids away from, it gives them kind of a cool feeling just to be together. It's kind of a retreat feeling, but also you're not spending a ton of money on traveling somewhere and renting out, a campground or something like that.
I think host homes are such a valuable part of Dnow because, number one, we've got a lot of kids in our ministry that are from broken homes or don't have a great home setting, and this provides them the opportunity to go into a Christian home and see what that is like, and also to connect with the owners of that home who are members of our church that can kind of be a secondary mom or dad, where they build a trust and a relationship with those people, and they have someone that's older and not one of their peers that they can go talk to or confide in. I think another valuable part of having a host home is it provides a very intimate small group setting. You're not going to overcrowd a host home and take advantage of that, because then you won't have them the next year. So you want to take care of your host homes, and by doing that, you're putting no more than 8 to 10 kids in their home, and it just provides for a very small family-like atmosphere where the kids feel like they can be honest and open up and ask questions and be themselves.
Disciple Now is really one of the only times when students get the opportunity to go spend an extended amount of time in a host home, in a family, a Christian family in our church. For a lot of kids that are coming from broken homes, from the fatherless generation, this might be the one opportunity that they have to spend an extended amount of time in a Christian family, in a loving environment, and they just see things differently with that weekend. Tied in with that discipleship process that we see from the small group leaders, the host homes play such an important part in this whole Disciple Now process. The students get the opportunity to see how they make decisions, how they love on one another, what they're spending their money on. It's just a really incredible time, an intimate setting. And really it's going to build relationships beyond that. As their lives are falling apart sometimes, they can go back to that same family, that same home, and they know that's a place of refuge, and they know that's a place of structure that they can find, and they found that at Disciple Now.